The Earth seems, at first glance, a balanced planet. Moderate temperatures, liquid water, and an atmosphere that supports life. But this image hides a harsher reality. Our planet is a world of physical extremes. At different points on Earth, the temperature varies by more than 150 degrees, from heat capable of destroying living tissues to cold that paralyzes chemical reactions. Still, life finds ways. Extreme heat is one of the most destructive forces for complex organisms. It denatures proteins, alters cell membranes, and compromises entire systems within hours. In hot deserts, the surface of the ground can exceed 70 degrees Celsius. Touching the ground is impossible. The air itself begins to transfer heat to the body. The human body relies on sweat to cool down. When sweat evaporates, it removes heat from the skin. However, this mechanism has clear physical limits. When the humidity in the air is high, sweat stops evaporating. It just drips. Without evaporation, the body loses its main defense against overheating. There is a limit known as wet bulb temperature. Above approximately 35 degrees, the human body can no longer cool itself. Even in the shade, even when still, the heat begins to accumulate internally. Death can occur within a few hours, regardless of hydration. When the internal temperature exceeds 40 degrees, proteins lose their structure. Enzymes stop functioning. The brain quickly goes into collapse. Still, life thrives where humans fail. In volcanic regions, organisms known as thermophiles live. These bacteria have highly stable proteins and heat-resistant membranes. Some survive at temperatures above the boiling point of water. For these organisms, what we call extreme is simply the natural environment. Their biochemistry has been shaped to function within that limit. On the opposite end of the planet, the challenge is not an excess of energy, but its absence. In polar regions, temperatures can drop below minus 60 degrees Celsius. Under these conditions, chemical reactions slow down drastically. The greatest danger of extreme cold is the crystallization of water. Inside the cells, ice crystals break vital structures. For humans, extreme cold leads to hypothermia. The body loses heat faster than it can produce it. Below 35 degrees Celsius, metabolism slows down. Mental confusion, loss of coordination, and heart failure can occur. Polar animals have developed thick layers of fat, dense fur, and adjusted circulation to conserve heat. Some species use collective behavior, reducing heat loss through grouping. Psychrophilic microorganisms produce antifreeze proteins that prevent the formation of ice crystals. Beyond heat and cold, there is another less visible but equally lethal extreme: altitude. The higher the altitude, the lower the air pressure. Oxygen becomes scarce for the human body. Each breath provides less oxygen to the blood. The body enters an energy deficit. Headache, dizziness, nausea, and mental confusion indicate that the brain is suffering from hypoxia. Even so, human populations have lived at high altitudes for thousands of years. These populations have developed permanent physiological adaptations, such as greater lung capacity and more efficient blood. These changes are not just temporary acclimatization, they are part of the biology of these populations, including the animals. High-altitude plants adjust their photosynthesis and produce extra pigments to cope with cold and intense radiation. The increase in ultraviolet radiation requires additional cellular protection mechanisms. Going up too much limits the oxygen, going down too much creates another problem. In the ocean depths, the pressure is extreme, the temperature is low, and light does not exist. The pressure increases drastically with each meter. For the human body, this quickly becomes lethal. A deep life eliminates air-filled spaces and adapts its proteins to resist compression. In these environments, metabolism is slow, every calorie counts. All these extremes reveal the same fundamental principle. Life does not fight against the laws of physics, it adapts to them. What we call the habitable zone is actually just the comfortable zone for us. Understanding the extremes of the Earth broadens our view of where life may exist in the universe. The Earth is a living laboratory of biological adaptation. On a planet of extremes, surviving is not just about resisting, it's about transforming. Earth is a planet of limits. Heat, cold, pressure, and altitude shape everything that lives here. Understanding these extremes is also understanding our own place in the universe. If this video expanded your view of the planet we live on, follow the channel. Here, knowledge never stops.